Hey guys, DHammy here again, and I'm going to present you with yet another revision guide, and this time it's going to be AS1 Business Studies, so it's the first part of your A-level course, and specifically for the CA spec. Ownership is going to be our first topic. A business is any organisation involved in the production of a good or provision of a service. The types include sole trader, partnership, public and private limited companies, franchises, social enterprises, and cooperatives. A sole trader has one owner and it has zero to any number of employees. The advantage is that you're your own boss, you have total control, you keep all the profits, and it's easy to set up. Disadvantage is that you have unlimited liability, a lack of specialisation, and limited finance. A partnership is 2 to 20 owners. A silent partner is someone who invests but doesn't run, and a deed of partnership is an outline of how the money is shared. Advantages include you have shared decisions, an increase in specialisation, and increased finance, but disadvantages are unlimited liability, profits are shared, and disagreements can occur. Private and public limited companies have owners who are shareholders, but in LTD they're friends and family, whereas in PLC they're general public as the shares are traded on the stock market. A board of directors run the business, and a memorandum of association article of association too. Advantages include limited liability, specialisation, and capitals invested, whereas disadvantages is that it's complicated to set up and you lose control. A franchise is when a franchisor allows a franchisee to trade under their name. Advantage to the franchisee is that you have an established name and support the franchisor. Disadvantage to the franchisee is that you have a lack of control, but the advantage to the franchisor is that it's a quick way to grow, you have royalties from the franchisee, but then on the downside, you have a risk of a bad reputation from an unsuitable franchisee. A social enterprise has social objectives, and the profits are reinvested into the business with a goal to fulfill social needs, and they need to be as good as their competitors for profit maximisation. Now we're going to move on to stakeholders. A stakeholder is someone who has an interest in a business because they can affect or be affected by it. There's two categories: external, who are people who do not have a close relationship with the business but still have an interest, and internal, who are people who have a close relationship with the business. Internal include owners, who have the main aim to make a profit as the business is their livelihood and they want the business to be as efficient as possible. Shareholders, who are part owners of a business and their main aim is to get a good dividend. Directors, who may also be shareholders, want the business to make a good profit. And managers, who want to get a good salary, have good career development opportunities, and want good job security. External include producers who want to supply to other businesses and want to keep production costs low, and they may have concerns on environmental issues. Consumers want a good product and service for a good price and good customer service. Taxpayers will rely on the business for employment, and trade unions want to ensure employees are treated fairly and negotiate the best paying conditions for their members. The shareholder concept is a traditional view of the business whereby all decisions are made to increase the wealth of the business for the benefit of the owners and shareholders. Their main objective is to maximise profit, which can cause conflict with other stakeholders. The stakeholder concept is when any individual group that has an effect on or is affected by a business or organisation is known as a stakeholder, and it is important to make decisions around them as it leads to improved business with employees working harder and customers buying more. Communication. Communication is the effective exchange of information. All business activity relies on continual communication. Good communication is simple and straightforward, and it's appropriate for the audience. It's accurate and complete. Poor communication can result in the poor customer and industrial relations, and it has inefficiency and lost sales. Effective communication is the most effective, and communication is a two-way process between the sender and receiver. There are two broad areas of communication in business. They include internal, which is important for managers to communicate effectively with their subordinates, and external, when it's important to keep all stakeholders well informed. Markets and goods. Product differentiation is the process of distinguishing a product or service from others to make it more attractive to a particular market. Consumer goods are products that are purchased for consumption by the average consumer, and their three types: durable, non-durable, and services. Capital goods are tangible assets such as buildings that an organisation uses to produce goods, and the labour market is when the supply is the employees and the demand is the employers. A mass market is a market for goods that are purchased in large quantities and are offered to consumers through mass retailers. Market intelligence is useful information about consumers, distributors, or competitors. Pan-European marketing is marketing throughout Europe as a single market, and price elasticity is the responsiveness of demand to change in price. Global marketing is marketing throughout the whole world as if it is, for instance, using the same brand name and brand advertising. Benefits include increasing the potential size of the audience, product differentiation is low, and survival against competition requires cost-reducing economies of scale. Global competition has severe pricing pressures, and you need to market on the largest possible stage, spreading your cost revenues, selling the same product in the same manner everywhere. It doesn't duplicate your costs, and so cost savings are created, given a competitive advantage. Technology advances and the product life cycle gets shorter, so extra sales are generated and shortening payback times on new products. Niche marketing is a subset of the market on which a specific product is focused, and when adopting this, firms must take profits from a relatively small sales volume, presenting problems as overheads cannot spread over a high output level. Benefits though is that it can act as safe havens for small firms, as small firms operate in niches too small for large firms to be interested in. Large firms will switch to niche though when their markets stop growing and try to gain further sales, and they have to take a market share, and niche market products can be highly profitable. Small firms have an advantage over identifying a niche, as they're small, as they're closer to their consumers. They have direct customer feedback. The likes and dislikes gives the ideas for new niche products. Technology has affected niche marketing by databases being merged and cross-referenced, and so firms know the names and addresses of potential consumers, which are contacted using direct mail, and they're targeted with precision, reducing direct mail cost. Niche prices are higher than mass, as products are invariably designed to meet the needs of consumers, so buyers are less likely to be price sensitive, and niche products are less price elastic, so higher prices can be charged. Demand and supply. The determinants of demand include real income, as when the income rises, more products are afforded. Price of all our goods. If the prices rise, the demand falls and goods are complements. Taste and preferences. Expectation of future prices. If they think the prices to fall, they delay their purchase, and this will reduce demand in the current time period. Advertising. Population. A change in structure of population increases demand for some products but reduces demand for others. Interest rates and credit conditions. If the interest rate is low, you should be borrowing money that can be spent, and the quantity demanded is the amount of a product that a household would or buy in a given time period if it could buy all it wanted at the current market price. The demand curve is a graph illustrating how much of a given product a household would be willing to buy at a different price. The theory of demand says the higher the price, the lower the demand, and the lower the price, the higher demand. A shift in the demand curve will occur if one of the other determinants of demand change, but if the price hasn't changed and the demand has increased, that means real income has increased. This is what a demand curve will look like. The supply curve is a graph illustrating how much of a given product a firm will supply at different prices. The law of supply says there is a positive relationship between price and quantity of a good supplied. Determinants of supply include the price of a good, and the cost of producing the good depends on the price of the required inputs, land, labour and capital, the technologies that can be used, and the prices of related products. This is an example of a supply curve. A market is any place where buyers and sellers meet to trade products. The market price is the amount customers charge for the items, which depends on demand and supply. Demand is the amount of product customers are prepared to buy at different prices, and supply is the amount of product businesses are prepared to sell at different prices. The goods market is where everyday products are traded. The commodities market is when raw materials such as wheat are traded, and higher costs are passed on to the consumer as higher prices are absorbed by firms, leaving prices unchanged and a lower profit is made. External influences and market forces. An external influence is divided into 4 categories. Demand, where the whole range of influence arises from customer demand. Inputs, where they impact the business through the requirements, land, labour and capital. The government, which is affected by government policies, some significantly. Social factors, which are sensitive to ethical issues and environmental considerations. Considerable business opportunities are created. The businesses predict accurately how rising real income affects them in a good position to exploit opportunities. Competition is often crucial importance in determining the level of demand for products, choosing a range of competing products. Changing prices are very important external influences, as if an extreme price war where competing sellers keep undercutting each other and set below the cost of production temporarily. Competition forces business to produce efficiently in order to survive. Demand influence is the demand for all products taken together, as known as the aggregate demand. If there's a downturn in aggregate demand, it's called a recession. During this time, economic growth may be negative, meaning output declines. Some products are vulnerable to business cycle fluctuations. Aggregate demand falling, incomes are falling, some products feel they can do without. Supply is when more profit they can make. The bigger the incentive and quantity businesses want to supply is related to the price which can be charged. At a higher price, they want greater profit, so they'll put more out, but less, so they put less out. Demand is the quantity which consumers wish to buy and the price they think will be charged. If the price is right, then they may become potential buyers, and the deal will only take place if the buyer and seller settle on an equilibrium price, which is the price where the selling price is equal to the price that they will be charged. And a market which is unsold stock is in disequilibrium. Usage of supply and demand. Impact changes in demand and supply can be predicted. Different kinds of changes are identified and classified according to causes, and the theory is used to analyse relationships to determine prices and quantities. An invention of a completely new product leads to structural changes in production facilities for a product setup, leading to both cost reduction and quality improvements. Resources constantly being reallocated from one use to another within a business as it diversifies its products, and occurs when a business expands, a new one sets up, or a business closes down. Land, labour and capital being redundant, but then becomes available to new businesses setting up or expanding. As the economy develops industrial, they move resources out of the agriculture and into manufacturing, and then later on into the tertiary sector. Unemployment is invariably a feature of recession, and accelerating inflation is a consequence of prolonged above-average economic growth. Times are hard in the home market, and businesses look for foreign markets and export. Exporting businesses have to contend with the business cycle fluctuations in other countries. They need to be able to compensate for low demand in the country by selling in another country in which is in a recovery phase. The decision to produce a new brand has to be reasonably confident will make a profit to cover all costs of production, including capital costs, as there is no point in producing something which makes a continual loss. The outcome is a decrease in supply, and the decision depends greatly on the price at which the product can be sold. Consumers' decision depends on that price too. Market positioning and competitive advantage. Market positioning influences consumers' views of products or a brand, and it aims to achieve a unique and beneficial perception of a product in the consumer's mind, possibly enable it to achieve a USP. Good marketing positioning is when consumers believe they're receiving benefits from buying the product. The process includes conducting market research, identifying the target market segments, enabling ability to find out the product characteristics that its targeted market value most, providing superior value to the target market, offering lower prices, and they're gaining a competitive advantage. A competitive advantage is a benefit that allows a business to gain and retain more customers than its competitors. Market position is decided on the basis of a number of factors: attributes and benefit of a product, USP, the quantities helping businesses differentiate itself from other products, competition, occupy part of the market that is different to that of any other business, requiring low marketing expenditure, product user, businesses market research and market segmentation, give an excellent understanding of a particular market segment. Pricing, differentiated marketing, often linked to high pricing advantage, as targeting small needs requires greater added value from each product, and the product user application. Some cars are often designed to meet such needs, such as a family or off-roading. Quality. Quality is a refined process in which products are assessed, improved, shared and confirmed on a regular basis in order to meet the needs of consumers. A quality product is fit for purpose if it meets customer requirements. To produce a good quality product, a firm must identify exactly what a customer is looking for, and this involves market research. The consequence of low quality is that there will be bad word of mouth, no repeat trade, no profits will close down. The customers take back products with the business is unwanted stock. There's low motivation for employees, and the business has to reinvest into new products. A quality control system is a traditional approach to improving quality of a firm's products. The main process is where the manager inspects the finished products before they're dispatched into shops, and the main idea is that if defects are found before the customers buy the products, the main aim of the system is improved quality. ISO 9000 is a European quality standard, which is the equivalent of BS 5750, and this is a UK quality standard awarded to firms which have a quality assurance system. To achieve ISO 9000, firms must set quality targets, examine the production process to ensure these targets are achieved, and measure the actual results and take action if what actually happens is different from what the firm wants to happen. Total Quality Management, or TQM, and this is an approach to quality involving all of the employees in an organisation where the quality assurance system appreciates that everyone within the firm contributes to the overall quality of a product, and under the TQM approach everyone has to think about their customers' needs. Some businesses construct to get too complacent. Adding value. Added value is the equivalent to an increase in value that a business creates by undertaking for production process, whereas adding value is the difference of price of a finished product and the cost of the inputs involved in making it. You add value by building the brand, the reputation, quality, value, etc. the customers are prepared to buy for, such as Apple. Deliver excellent customer service, high quality, attentive personnel service can make a difference between a high price and not. Product features and benefits, additional functionality and different versions of software can enable a software seller to charge higher prices, and offering convenience. Customers pay more for a product they can get quickly. A business that is adding value must also be operating profitably. Key benefits include charging higher prices, creating a point of difference for competition, protecting from competitors trying to steal customers by charging lower prices, and forcing a business more closely on a target segment. Innovation. Innovation is introducing something new into a business. It includes improving and reducing business processes to increase efficiency and productivity in order to enable a business to extend its range or quality of existing products, developing entirely new and improved products and services, often meeting rapidly changing customer needs, and adding value to existing products and services on markets to differentiate a business from competitors, increasing the perceived value to consumers on the market. Benefits of innovation include improving productivity, reducing costs, being more competitive, building the value of your brand, establish new partnerships and relationships, and increase turnover and improve profitability. If businesses fail to innovate, they lose market share to competitors, they have fallen productivity and efficiency, they lose key staff, they experience steadily reducing margins and profit, and then they go out of business. Factors affecting innovation. Technical and organizational resources such as technology and equipment acquisition and external knowledge for acquisition, production preparation and commercial preparation. Constituent factors is the firm size and type of market, and information management, which is the internal sources and market related sources. Factors affecting innovation again is human resources such as R&D, personnel, financial resources which is R&D expenses, cooperation with other firms, R&D activities such as internal and internal R&D, and the firm's performance which is the effects on products and effects on processes. Outsourcing. Outsourcing is the act of one company contracting with another company to provide services that might otherwise be performed by in-house employees, and that occurs when suppliers are involved in activities that could be undertaken by a firm. The advantage is that it reduces staffing costs, well-trained staff are provided by the outsourced company, the workload and stress levels are reduced, there's less investment risk as the site supplier takes a risk of investing, capital needs are reduced as there's less investment and less need to raise finance, lower costs and increase the profits so there's no capital for R&D, and it speeds up the development of new products. Disadvantage is that there's a potential of poor customer services, communication is difficult as there are cultural differences, existing employees are demotivated as their jobs are at risk so you reduce productivity, the quality of production isn't guaranteed, the quality control system in hand of producers thousands of miles away, it's more difficult to implement just-in-time systems reducing the need to work in capital, breakdown in communication in the production chain, there's a lot of security data as customer data available to external businesses, and there's lost tax revenues to the home government. Factors influencing the decision to outsource. Available capacity. If there's high levels of spare capacity, you do in-house, but the storage of capacity is low, then outsourcing is a more financially viable solution. Expertise. The company which work the outsourced possesses better production, leading to more efficient production. Quality consideration. Business sells product based on quality, and outsourcing risky is difficult for business to control and maintain the quality of product sales. Nature of demand. Businesses need to protect itself from sudden fluctuations in demand. Demand stable and consistent. The business is inclined to produce in-house. The cost. As production is not one of the core competencies, then the good sense to outsource as low wage and reduce rental payments for the property. Level of risk. Outsourcing increases the risk as loss of control over the operation, and impact on profit. Outsource or subcontract result in lower profit as another business and making profit from a particular element of production. Production. Job production is when a single product is produced from start to finish as a result of an individual customer order. The advantage is that pieces are made to exact requirements, job satisfaction is high, and quality of goods is high. Disadvantage is that products are expensive, work is time consuming, and economies of scale are lost. Batch production is producing a number of similar products. The advantage is that work is specialised, machinery is used, and production is faster. The disadvantage is that work is repetitive, large space is required, and machines need to be reset in between batches. Flow production is a mass production or assembly line production, and advantage is that large quantities are manufactured, machinery is used, production is fast, and quality is standardised. Disadvantage though is that work is repetitive, there's an increased risk of accidents, a large space is required, and all products are identical. Lean production is the main aim to reduce all forms of waste in the production process. It helps make operations run more smoothly and costs are reduced and inefficiency is reduced. Techniques used are cell production, time-based management, benchmarking, just-in-time, and Kaizen. Cell production is a method of organising production around teams. Instead of producing items in a production line, projects is divided into a series of different stages undertaken by teams referred to as cells. Cell production is very motivating for employees as they feel more control over their own work, and each team has to communicate with each other together to decide how and when items are produced. A cell has a right to refuse to accept their work if it has not met the quality benchmark. Investment planning. Investment is nothing but using money to make more money, involving the sacrifice of something now for the prospect of getting something in the future. To part with money, investors need compensation for the time period for which the money is parted with, the expected rates of price rate and inflation, and the uncertainty of payments in the future. The benefits of investing in employees is that it helps find great employees as investing in training helps keep the best employees, but also brings aboard great new people by presenting benefits that competition doesn't. If you see the chance to grow, the company expects you to participate. It helps promote from within, as promoting internally is easier when training employees, and employee development prepares the best for promotion building for the future for company, and continually training and able to keep up with the industry trends so employees can learn and integrate new technologies constantly, increasing their engagement and productivity. Drawbacks, however, is that if you train the staff and they leave, the money and resources are wasted, so you have worse cash flow. And if the business trains the wrong staff for the wrong job, money and resources are wasted as the person can't do the job properly. Recruitment. Internal methods include notice boards, news sheets, and sending emails to employees. Advantage is that applicants are familiar with the business, it improves morale and motivation of existing staff, and it's less expensive than advertising externally, and induction training is not required. The disadvantage though is that the range of applicants are limited, it doesn't bring in new skills and ideas, and no existing staff may be available. External methods include media, job centre, newspaper, internet, and recruitment agency. The advantage is that the range of applicants is wider, it brings in new skills and ideas, and there's no internal staff vacancies available. Disadvantage though is that induction training is required, the applicants aren't familiar with the business, it's slower than internal, and it can be very expensive. The factors influencing a recruitment method include the size of the business, the amount of money available for advertising, and the type of work being offered and where the firm is situated. Businesses recruit because of employee leaves, cover illness, or employees. The procedure includes a job description, the personal spec, advertise post, you shortlist, interview, offer job, and then the contract of employment. The job description is a purpose to define the main duties and responsibilities. It contains the title of the job, the location, the duties, who you report to, you, the equipment, and the date of first issue. The personal spec includes necessary and desirable criteria helping the shortlist. The criteria can include qualifications, skills, appearance, and attributes. When advertising the vacancy, use external and internal methods. Shortlisting is done by looking at the criteria on the person's spec and they're contacted by HR. Interviewing is done face-to-face, asking open questions, and they may ask to do tests. Contract of employment set out the right and duties of both the employee and employer, and it's an agreement between two parties and enforced by law. The contents include the name of the employee and employer, the title and description of the job, the hours of work, the agreed rate, and the method of payment, but also the details of holiday and pension schemes. The CV or curriculum vitae is personal account of experience and accolades. The advantage is that it gives an idea of the personality, you're able to use a covering letter, and it has no cost for the business. Disadvantage though is that it takes time to sort, information may be hidden, an application form as a form an applicant fills out for a job. Advantage is that you're instantly able to compare skills, you can ask specific details, but disadvantage is that it's time consuming, expensive, and lacks flexibility. A letter of application is when an applicant is invited to complete a letter of application given additional information and reasons why they're suitable for the job. Type of aptitude test. Numeracy test. You look at the candidate's basic mathematical ability. IQ test attempt to measure the intelligence of candidates. Literacy test assess the candidate's ability to use English. Psychometric testing is named to see if the candidate has the personality suited to the job. The design measure to candidate suitability for the role based on required personality characteristics and aptitude. The use information from psychometric tests to identify hidden aspects of the candidates that's difficult to extract from face-to-face interviews. They're statistically examined and constructed to be objective and unbiased. The advantages is that it's accurate and appropriate, they're cheap to acquire, it's highly costly, and it's unbiased. The disadvantage is that the method can become a fake one, it can make a candidate nervous, and it's incompatible with other tests, and the base population is small. Managing performance of staff and advantage of performance appraisals. It helps assess staffing and define objectives. It gives a chance to give constructive feedback to praise staff for good work and allow defined medium and long-term objectives for the employee. Appraisal affects the opportunity to address any problems, discuss apparent weaknesses, and identify better ways to carry out tasks. There's 4 key elements on a good performance and appraisal system. 1. Setting objectives for the incoming year. 2. Monitoring performance against the objective for the previous year and giving feedback, helping the staff to improve if not performing as required. Then you carry out the appraisal and you provide rewards. Appraisal should happen after a set period of time for new employees or an employee changing job in the company, then once or twice a year. It deals with the issues of poor performance as part of ongoing day-to-day management, and you should never leave this discussion until the annual appraisal meeting. Structure. Ways of business is structure is determined by the relationship between individuals, who is in charge, who has the authority to make decisions, and how information is communicated. By function is arranging a business according to what each section or department does. By product is organised according to different products made. By area is geographical or regional structure. By customer is when different customer groups have different needs. And by process is where products have to go through stages as they are made. Here are the advantages and disadvantages of by area structuring. By product structuring, advantages and disadvantages. By function, advantages and disadvantages. By process, advantages and disadvantages. Some may be the same. By customer, advantages and disadvantages. Chain of command is a route by which orders and decisions are passed through the organisation. The span of control is the number of people whom a manager has direct control over. If it's widened, there's more delegation and reduced supervision and better job enrichment, but if it's narrowed, there'll be tighter supervision, less chance of mistakes, easily checking and non-changing, and better promotion prospects. Decentralisation is a widespread delegation and passing power down to the lower levels of decision making. Centralisation is when only the top level of the business have the authority to take decisions. Delayering is a removal of one or more layers from the organisation. Here are the advantages and disadvantages of centralisation. Here are the advantages and disadvantages of decentralisation. Here are the advantages and disadvantages of delayering within an organisation. Organizational design is the strategy defining how a company unifies departments and how individuals in order to achieve company objectives. It's a formal process of integrating people, information, and technology in the right mix to achieve those objectives. Organizational structure is the formal lines of authority, employer, and the relationship between different people and functions in an organization. Organizational hierarchy is the levels of authority and accountability of the organization and vertical division. Tall hierarchical structures have a narrow span of control, while flat have a wide span of control. Organizational charts is the design of an organization, including the chain of command, how different functions divisions fit together, who is answerable to whom, the span of control in each division, and the levels of hierarchy in the organization. Features of tall structures that there's more promotional opportunities as the career ladder has more rungs. There's less delegation, leading to low morale and lack of commitment. There's more layers, so more staff and more overheads. There's a longer chain of command, so it takes longer for a decision to be made. There's tight financial control, and it's beneficial if there's quality and safety are crucial mistakes has serious consequences. The flat structure features that individual managers have less time for each subordinate. They delegate effectively. Staff have greater responsibility, so they become overstretched, causing stress. The vertical communication improves. There's less layers from top to bottom, and there's a short chain of command allowing decisions to be made quickly. Training. Training is a provision for work-related education, either on the job or off the job, involving employees being taught new skills or developing skills they already know. Training needs arising when knowledge and skills required by a firm exceed or differ from those that workers currently possess. Possible changes include the development and introduction of new products and services, restructuring of firm, development and introduction of new technology, and changes to the procedure and including to customer service. The benefit of training is that it helps new employees reach a level of performance expected of experienced workers, ensuring employees have necessary skills, knowledge, and attributes, qualifications for the job. It identifies employees' potential, increasing job prospects and chance of promotion, and improving motivation, encouraging employees to work towards organization aims and objectives. It improves the image of the company as if the customers have confidence in well-trained staff, attracting new recruits. Induction training has an aim to help new employees settle in quickly in order to ensure they reach the level of performance expected of experienced workers. An effective program is likely to reduce labour turnover, improve employees' understanding of both corporate culture and the situation in which an organisation is placed. It enables employees to contribute to an organisation more quickly and increases motivation. External training is when you join a college course if it's appropriate, if only a few employees with a specific training need and if training requirements are not specifically linked to the organisation. The advantage of that is that the opportunity to meet people from all organisations allowing an interchange of ideas and a broadening of understanding. Employees feel valued and it increases motivation. Internal training is appropriate if the training needs are specific to an individual organisation as the training is done in-house using on the job. On-the-job training is where an employee learns a job by seeing how it is carried out by an experienced employee. Advantage is that it's likely to be cheap as existing employees and equipment is used. It takes place in a realistic environment, avoiding any problems and adjusting between college environment and work situation. The disadvantage though is that quality of training depends on the ability of instructor and time available. The work situation may be noisy and stressful, so not conducive to effective learning. The employee chosen is unable to teach proper skills or might have developed bad habits that will be passed on to the trainee. Off-the-job involves all forms of employee education apart from that of immediate workplace, so conducted internally in a conference room or externally at college. Advantage is that it's less immediate pressure from work, it's more straightforward to estimate the cost. The training is focused on skills, attributes and theories that relate to work, likely to include generic skills and knowledge that are useful at work rather than job-specific content. Specially trained experts to do the teaching, so training is highly valued by the employees, leading to increased motivation. Employees have opportunity to meet staff from other organisations and learn about their systems. The disadvantage is that it can be expensive and questioning whether skills are learned transferred effectively to the actual work environment. Evaluate and effectiveness of training. Questionnaire assess people's views and perceptions before and after. Monitor improvements in quality of output, reductions in labour turnover, and witnesses use mystery visitors acting to members of the public, checking how the staff responded to customers after training, and increase candidates coming forward for internal promotions, reduction in accidents, mistakes, and wastage. Government training schemes. Youth training for 16-year-old school leavers to receive training at work. Employment training for the long-term unemployed. The New Deal programme, which helps the unemployed gain relevant training. National Training Award, which is given to institutions and employees who have achieved successful training. And Investors in People Award, which is given to businesses who reach national standards of training for employees. CPD, or continuing professional development. This is the means by which profession maintains and enhances their knowledge and skills. By doing this, you're more likely to perform better in your current job, gain a competitive advantage over your peers, achieve greater choice and employment mobility and earning potential, it boosts your self-confidence, you develop professional capability and enhance your reputation. Motivation and theories of motivation. Motivation is the will to work due to enjoyment of work itself. Motivation comes from a find of individual. This is intrinsic, and in our view, the will or desire to achieving a given target or goal is extrinsic. Characteristics shown if employees are motivated. There's a low level of absenteeism at all levels within the workforce. Few employees are leaving the business, so low level of labour turnover. There's good industrial relations and high level of productivity from the labour force. Motivation is important and it offers two opportunities. It sells products more cheaply and maintain the price levels and enjoy greater profits. High level of motivation leads to motivated employees, so it's easier to attract new employees as you have a reputation of a good employer. Motivation contributes positively to creating good corporate image. Firms need to be competitive, so motivated employees are an essential element in making the business competitive. The purpose behind a motivation theory is that the induction of mass production techniques and division of the labour force workplace and associated tasks presented to employees became monotonous. Taylorism. Frederick Taylor believes people motivated solely by money combined with a simple interpretation of a role of a manager to operate a business with maximum efficiency, and he was a consultant before. The key element is that he measured and analysed tasks necessary to complete the production process and encouraged the division of labour, breaking the production down into smaller tasks. Then he identified the most efficient employees and methods they used. The employees were given necessary equipment, training, and instructions to complete the task, and then finally he implemented a piece rate system so employees are motivated by money. They get paid according to the amount they produced and developed a differential piece rate system so they encourage the efficiency among employees. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is presented in a triangle with the basic needs at the bottom and the higher needs at the top. Low level satisfied, the individual strives to satisfy higher needs. He argued that businesses motivate offering a chance to fulfill higher levels and once the lower ones are satisfied. This is a more attractive approach to managers, so he offered more an individual approach. Frederick Hertzberg had a two-factor theory. Hygiene factors were like company policies, administration, supervision of employees, working conditions, salary, and relationship with fellow workers, while the motivators were personal achievement, interest in the work, personal growth, and advancement. Management and leadership. Management is the process of setting objectives, and leadership is the influence on others to achieve those objectives. Trait leaders are born as great leaders, and the qualities of great leaders includes that they are informed about matters relating to the business, they have the ability to think creatively, they are self-motivated, they have good communication, and they possess an air of authority. Autocratic leadership is when you retain control but not allow employees much freedom. They offer few opportunities to subordinates. Employees become dependent on leader, mistaken and result in criticism and disciplinary, and senior managers are overworked. Suitable when quick decisions are needed. Paternalistic is when leaders take decisions on what they consider to be the best interest of the workplace. Features include that they explain decisions, they don't delegate extensively, they treat the workplace as a family, and there's an emphasis on social needs, gaining the loyalty of the subordinate, and there's a low label turnover. Democratic is when decisions are based on a majority view. It encourages the leader to delegate and encourages development of leadership skills. Leader and subordinates discuss issues and employee participation. The leader acts upon advice, requiring excellent communication by leaders two-way, and it offers constructive ideas, gain satisfaction from employee, and a high level of motivation requiring little supervision. Laissez-faire means allowed to do, and it is a policy of letting things take their own course without interfering. Managers allow employees to handle the situation by themselves and take responsibility for the situation as they have a trust in their employees to solve the issue. This is characterised by delegating tasks to the team, having little contact with the team until tasks are completed. It boosts morale and increases productivity. Succession planning. Succession planning is a process of identifying and includes the need provision of developing potential future leaders or senior management in the short or long term. It's carried out in small and large organisations as a shortage or lack of confidence in leadership. Step 1 is to identify the business critical positions or roles in the organisation for which potential successors are needed. Schemes include targeting pools of positions for which similar skills are needed. Large companies which are highly structured and top-down structure have succession planning aimed at identifying internal successors for key posts, while flatter structures have declined succession planning. Workforce planning is getting the right number of people with the right skills employed in the right place at the right time to deliver the organisation's short and long-term objectives. A skills audit is the process used to identify skills gaps in an organisation, and the outcome is the identification of where training is needed. Types of motivation. Monetary forms include piecework, which is when employees are paid according to the quantity they produce, and salaries, which are expensed annually, paid monthly, and having a set number of hours per week, and then wages, which are paid weekly. Fringe benefits, which are extras an employee receives as part of a reward package. They include company car, luncheon vouchers, private health insurance, discounts on company products, and encourage employee loyalty. Performance-related pay is only paid to those who meet exceed agreed targets. Criticisms, though, of this includes employees might be feared they may be discriminated against, but development of it is that it's variable, more flexible, and rewards are greater. Profit sharing is when employees receive some of the business's profits. They're paid out in the form of cash or company shares. They improve employee loyalty, and there's more willing to accept changes. Share ownership is when you pay employees a share of the profits in the form of shares. Non-monetary forms focuses on the design of employees' jobs. A good job is when an employee carries out duties resulting in a definite end product and clear and challenging goals. Job enrichment is when employees or jobs are redesigned, providing them with a more challenging and complex task and vertical loading. This uses all the abilities of an employee. It involves redesigning jobs, increasing the range of tasks, giving them a greater responsibility and the authority to identify and solve problems. They're provided with training and skills essential, allowing them to carry out the enriched job out effectively. Job enlargement increases the number of similar duties, horizontal loading. Employees carry out a wider range of duties, possibly reducing labour costs. Job rotation is the type of job enlargement where employees switch from one duty to another. Employee empowerment is redesigning jobs, allowing employees greater control over their working lives. Team work is when the organisation breaks down production processes into large units, giving responsibility, completing large unit of works, and the opportunity to meet social needs. Types of teams include production, where the organisation sells and they monitor quality and ensure targets are met. Quality circle, where they propose solutions to existing problems. And management, where the team complements the organisation, overseeing their achievements. Type of non-monetary depends on the style of leadership, as some give employees freedom in an organisation and others prefer to control. Culture of the business, which gives a culture dynamic and flexible and competitive. Employees are motivated by jobs they do, but if the culture is traditional and hierarchical, employees not operate with much freedom.